Welcome, everyone, to the AI Daily Deep Dive. It's Monday, April 14th, 2025, and we're jumping straight into the five biggest AI news stories hitting the wires today.
Sounds good. And this is a bit different, isn't it?
It is, because this entire deep dive, researched and generated completely by AI, it's kind of our way of showing the tech in action while talking about it.
Very meta. So we're getting an AI's take on AI news.
Exactly. A concise look, the key stuff, without getting totally bogged down. So let's get started. Where do we begin?
Okay, first up is Nvidia. They're making some really significant moves to build up AI infrastructure, specifically supercomputers in production right here in the U.S., mostly Texas, it looks like.
Yeah, I saw that quote from Jensen Huang, the CEO. He said, the engines of the world's AI infrastructure are being built in the United States for the first time. That's a pretty bold claim.
It really is. And they're backing it up. They're working with Foxconn down in Houston and Wistron in Dallas. We're talking over 1 million square feet of space commissioned just for this.
1 million square feet. Wow. So this isn't a small pilot project, then?
Not at all. This is a major, major commitment. And they expect these places to be up and running pretty quickly, actually, like within 12 to 15 months.
That's ambitious. And what's the potential scale here?
Well, Nvidia is projecting that within 4 years, the value of the AI infrastructure produced could be massive, up to $500 billion.
$500 billion. That's staggering. It really shows where they see the AI market going.
Absolutely. And it's not just about assembling things in Texas. They're also making sure their latest GPUs, the Blackwell AI ones, are part of this U.S. push. Those are being produced in TSMC's factories over in Arizona.
Okay, so the core tech, the real advanced chips, are being made domestically, too.
Exactly. And they've also got collaborations going with Amkor Technology and SPIL, also in Arizona, for the really complex chip packaging and testing needed for these high-end processors.
Interesting. Now, how does this fit in with the broader political climate? I know that Trump administration brought in some new tariffs on chips and electronics.
Yeah, that's definitely a factor to consider. While some tech imports got exemptions, semiconductors didn't entirely escape. So there are new tariffs. It could impact companies like Nvidia, who still rely on global supply chains for certain components.
So how is NVIDIA responding? Did Huang say anything?
He did, actually. At their recent GTC conference, he seemed pretty optimistic. He basically acknowledged the tariffs, even the possibility of a recession, but stressed that their strategy is long-term, focused on building this onshore manufacturing capability regardless.
Playing the long game, then. And how did the markets react to all this news?
Pretty positively, it seems. Nvidia stock actually ticked up about 1.6% on Monday morning, so investors seem to like the strategy.
Okay. So the big takeaway here is NVIDIA doubling down on US-based AI infrastructure, boosting supply chain resilience, and really cementing their role as a key player, maybe the key player in this whole AI boom.
That sums it up nicely. It's a huge strategic move.
All right, let's shift gears. How is AI showing up more directly for, regular users, like on platforms we use every day?
Good transition. Our next story looks at exactly that. Netflix and YouTube are both rolling out new AI-powered features.
Oh, what's Netflix up to?
They're doing a limited test, just for iOS users in Australia and New Zealand for now, of an AI-enhanced search function. It's powered by OpenAI's ChatGPT, actually.
ChatGPT for search. How does that work?
Well, instead of just typing keywords, you can ask it questions in natural language. Like, you could type, "Find me a lighthearted sci-fi movie that's okay for families." More conversational queries.
Oh, I like that. Sometimes you know the vibe you want, but not the exact title or genre keywords. That could be really useful for finding stuff you'd normally miss.
That's precisely the goal. More intuitive, personalized discovery. Maybe uncovering some hidden gems in their massive library.
Any word on when the rest of us might get it, or if it's coming to other devices?
Not yet. They're keeping it pretty limited for now, probably gathering data, seeing how people use it. No timeline specified for a wider rollout.
Okay, interesting. And what about YouTube?
YouTube's experimenting with something for creators, an AI tool that generates background music.
Really? Custom background music. That sounds potentially game-changing for creators, especially smaller ones. Finding good royalty-free music can be a real pain.
Exactly. So the idea is creators can input parameters like, say, the instruments they want, the mood, the tempo, maybe the genre, or even describe the video it's for, like calm acoustic guitar music for a cooking tutorial.
And the AI just makes it.
Pretty much. And crucially, it's integrated with YouTube's Creator Music Library, which means the tracks generated are royalty-free. It simplifies that whole process.
That could lower the barrier quite a bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're definitely seeing AI become much more visible, more interactive, not just the hidden algorithms recommending what video to watch next.
Right. It's moving from the back end to sort of user-facing tools.
Hmm.
Though you could argue the Netflix feature might reinforce filter bubbles, potentially. And the YouTube tool raises questions about AI and human creativity in music, but for now, it's about user features.
True. Always wider implications to consider. Okay, speaking of AI giants, there seems to be some buzz around OpenAI again.
Yes, definitely. Sam Altman, the CEO, he sort of dropped a teaser on X, formerly Twitter, just said to expect significant announcements starting today, April 14th.
Ah, the classic OpenAI teaser. That always gets people talking. Any speculation on what it might be?
Loads of it. The big money seems to be on their next big language model, maybe a ChatGPT 4.1 or perhaps the successor to GPT-4o, their multimodal model. The Verge reported on that possibility.
That would make sense, wouldn't it? Keeping pace with Google's Gemini and Anthropic's Claude models, the competition's fierce.
It really is. And OpenAI usually times these big announcements for the afternoon Pacific time, so everyone's kind of watching the clock today.
Right. But even without a new model today, the current stuff, like the image generation in GPT-4o with Dolly, that's already making waves, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's fueling all sorts of viral trends on social media.
Like what are people doing with it?
Well, there's a big one where people generate images of themselves as like action figures. That's quite popular.
I think I've seen some of those.
Yeah. And also generating artwork in that very distinct Studio Ghibli style.
Mhm.
And then there are the Dachri, the human-to-pet or pet-to-human transformations. Some are funny, some are maybe a bit weird.
Okay, action figures, Ghibli art, pet swaps. It sounds like it's becoming less of a pure productivity tool and more of a creative toy or a platform for self-expression.
Exactly. It
Yeah.
shows ChatGPT evolving beyond just text. And let's not forget, they also recently updated the memory function, so it remembers context across conversations now, which is a pretty significant usability improvement.
Right. So it feels like OpenAI is quite good at managing this whole hype cycle, big reveals teased, but also steady feature improvements, keeping people engaged.
It seems to be their strategy.
Yep.
And these image tools really democratize digital content creation in a way. Anyone can now generate pretty unique visuals.
Yeah, that's a good point. Though maybe there's a risk that all this fun viral stuff normalizes AI so much that we kind of overlook the deeper questions, the ethical stuff.
That's definitely a valid concern. The flashiness can overshadow the more complex societal implications.
Okay, let's move to our fourth story. This one involves AI in maybe a slightly unexpected place, university graduations.
Yeah, this is causing a bit of a stir. Several universities in Georgia, we're talking UGA, Georgia Tech, Kennesaw State, and possibly the University of North Georgia, are using AI voice technology to announce the names of graduating students.
AI announcing names at graduation. Who's providing the tech?
It's a company called Tassel, apparently.
Tassel, okay. And how does their system work? Is it just a generic robot voice?
Well, they claim it's more sophisticated. They've built up a phonetic database with like over 100,000 names. And the AI models are trained on recordings of professional voice artists.
So trying to make it sound more natural, presumably.
Presumably. And graduates are supposed to get a chance to review how the AI plans to pronounce their name. They can even opt to record their own name pronunciation if they want, although the AI voice is the default. UGA has apparently been using something like this since 2020, even for personalized slides.
Okay, so what's the university's rationale for doing this?
The main arguments are efficiency. Reading thousands of names is time-consuming, and also accuracy, especially with increasingly diverse student bodies and names that might be unfamiliar to a human reader. Plus, they mention accessibility, like synchronizing the audio with video boards and captions.
Efficiency and accuracy. Okay, I can see the logic. But I imagine not everyone's thrilled about this.
Not at all. There's significant student backlash, particularly aimed at the University of North Georgia, which might be adopting it. There's a change.org petition against it that's already got over 1,800 signatures.
Wow. What's the main complaint?
The core feeling is that graduation is this huge personal milestone. It's a celebration. And having your name read out by an AI just feels impersonal. It kind of diminishes that moment. They feel that human touch, someone actually saying your name, is really important.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that sentiment. It feels like a very human moment being replaced by automation.
Exactly. And some students are also pointing out what they see as hypocrisy. Universities often have strict policies about students using AI for assignments, but then the university itself uses AI for something this significant.
That's an interesting point. So it really boils down to this tension, doesn't it? AI efficiency versus the value of human tradition and personal connection in these big life events.
Precisely. It raises broader questions about where we draw the line with AI, especially when it comes to celebrating human achievements. And it's interesting that these are digital natives, students presumably comfortable with tech, but they're pushing back against this specific application.
Yeah, it's not a simple tech is good or tech is bad thing. It's nuanced. Okay, for our final story today, we're shifting to something a bit lighter.
Yes, definitely lighter. This involves the U.S. Education Secretary, Linda McMahon, and a rather amusing mix-up at the recent ASU plus GSV summit.
Oh, what happened?
Apparently, she repeatedly confused AI, artificial intelligence, with A12, the steak sauce.
Wait, seriously, A1 steak sauce. How did that even happen?
Well, reports say she started off asking a question about AI development, which is fine. But then she apparently started talking about A1 teaching and how A1 could be really helpful for like one-on-one instruction.
Oh my goodness, A1 teaching, that's quite something. What was the reaction? Did anyone correct her?
It's unclear if she was corrected in the moment, but the A1 steak sauce brand definitely noticed. Their social media team had some fun with it.
I bet they did. What did they say?
They put out some witty posts, including declaring that, quote, every school should have access to A.1. They even played along with her comments about its potential role in early learning. Pretty clever reactive marketing, really.
Ha! That's brilliant. Good on them. Now, Secretary McMahon, her background isn't traditional education, right?
No, not at all. She's the former CEO of WWE, the wrestling entertainment company. She acknowledged herself when appointed that she didn't come from the education world. President Trump had his reasons for selecting her, but yeah, education policy wasn't her primary background.
So this whole incident, while funny, maybe it kind of highlights something broader.
I think it does. It really shows the communication gap that can exist between fast-moving tech jargon like AI and general public understanding, especially for people whose expertise, like McMahon's, lies completely elsewhere. AI is everywhere in tech news, but maybe not quite household dinner table conversation yet, unless you're talking about steak sauce.
Right. It's easy to forget that not everyone is immersed in this stuff day in, day out, and it shows how quickly brands can jump on these things online.
Absolutely. It's just a humorous, kind of relatable moment of human error in the middle of all this serious, high-stakes discussion about artificial intelligence. A little reminder not to take ourselves or the jargon too seriously all the time.
A good reminder indeed. Okay, so let's quickly recap those 5 stories we dove into today.
Right. We had Nvidia's massive push for U.S.-based AI infrastructure in Texas and Arizona.
Then Netflix and YouTube rolling out those new AI features for search and music generation.
The buzz around potential OpenAI updates, alongside those viral ChatGPT image trends like action figures and Ghibli art.
The controversy brewing at Georgia universities over using AI voices for graduation name announcements.
And finally, Education Secretary McMahon's flavorful confusion between AI and AI1 steak sauce.
And just to circle back to the beginning, remember this entire deep dive, the research, the structure, the points we covered, was put together entirely by AI.
It really is fascinating to see it work like this, taking current events and synthesizing them.
It absolutely is. It makes you think, doesn't it? Considering how AI is increasingly popping up in creative spaces, personal moments like graduations, even generating news summaries like this one, maybe a question for our listeners to ponder is, what parts of our human experience feel most important to keep, distinctly human, separate from AI's influence?
That's a great question to leave people with. There's definitely a lot to unpack there.
Indeed. We definitely encourage you to dig deeper into these stories yourselves, maybe even use some AI tools for your own research. The AI landscape is always shifting.
And we'll keep tracking it.
Absolutely. Thanks for tuning in to the AI Daily Deep Dive. We'll be back with more insights soon.